So I don't want to just like ramble on about this stuff and not offer some sort of viable solutions. So again, I think, and what I've experienced when people are trying to move away from that sort of low vibrational, disconnected existence, that again, it's part of the social matrix, it's part of society, the way we've grown up. It's like we see others around us doing these things, so we assume that, okay, this is just the way it's done. And, you know, when you get into a social situation, you have to drink. And, you know, once you get into, you know, the world too, you realize that a lot of people are actually doing a lot of drugs, and that's normal or cool or typical. Or if you look at media, you know, if you look at popular culture, it's even glorified. Okay, to a certain extent, if you are hardcore, if you are like, if you're cool, you're going to be doing these things because that's what, you know, people do when they've arrived. Yeah, I mean, that's what people can do once they arrived or on their way, or, you know, if they're in pain, I guess, but you're only going to be causing yourself far more amount of pain, and you're not going to be getting yourself to the final destination. I know myself, I've always worked hard. I've had a job since I was like a little kid, like 2 or 3 jobs. I've always been a hard worker, and that has kept me very grounded, very stable, and it has created a certain amount of affluence in my life, but it's because I'm diligent. It's because I'm very structured and, you know, maybe a little bit sometimes on the boring side, in the sense that I'm going to get the job done first. I'm not going to monkey around. I'm not going to party. I'm not going to do those things. But what it has allowed me to do is that when I do create experiences for myself, like travel, like, you know, going out, you know, I can take a limo, I can, you know, bring all my girlfriends. It can be an event without having to like make everything about alcohol. Now, of course, there's times where we'll pop a bottle of champagne or whatever it is, but keep in mind, I'm gonna have 1 or 2 glasses over like a 4-hour period. I'm not slobbering drunk, usually. Now, on occasion, you know, once a year or something like that, I may get a little bit overboard. You know, I'm a human being, but again, anytime I do that, it's such a learning experience for me of what I do not want to experience and who I do not want to be. Every time I get into that vortex of being overly intoxicated, I feel so ungrounded. I don't feel like myself. It's not my energy, and I don't like the person I am when I'm in that energy. I make bad decisions. So then part of it is really dissecting your own mind, figuring out what you want out of life. So where do you want to go? What do you want to create? Are you going to be that person that is going to be super diligent to your dreams? And are you going to do all of the things that get you there? And part of that's going to be not partying. You can have experiences. I try to explain this to people all the time if they're overdoing it. Like, just go for 3 or 4 hours. You don't have to go for 15 hours and party till, you know, you have to sleep off 2 days after it. You can still have a beautiful experience in moderation, have fun, interact with people, and then go home and just be a regular average person that has a tea and puts up their feet and relaxes. It doesn't always have to be so extreme to the point that you're destroying your own life. And it's a very simple calibration to create this beautiful existence for yourself. Everything in moderation, everything done through the lens of grace and wanting to keep a stable environment for yourself. And again, it's a choice. You have to make that choice for yourself, and you have to look at having your actions match your values. If you're somebody that values, you know, a beautiful, stable existence for your family, for your home, for yourself, you're going to have to walk away from some certain situations, even if your friends are doing those things. And you're going to have to be bold enough that if you see your friends doing those things, that you ask them, like, why are you doing that? You know, is that really who you want to be? It's like, I feel like people are always so afraid to step up and say, like, seriously, is this a good decision for you? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I mean, they may disagree with you, they may push you away, but at least you're speaking your truth. And I think that's always the most important. If we're always residing in authenticity, then we're on the right path. Okay, so I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but so what are the things that can help help you if you are drinking too much, partying too much, dealing with addiction, dealing with addiction, pharmaceutical drugs, street drugs, gambling, food, sex addiction, porn addiction, social media addiction, anything that is an obsessive, addictive behavior. How do you deal with that? What are the steps you take to get yourself or move yourself away from that addictive behavior? First of all, you have to want it. You have to desire it. You have to see that there's a problem. So you've got to know yourself enough to say, this behavior isn't serving me. If you don't even have that first step, you're happy with what you're doing and you're learning in that vibrational frequency. I'm not here to say it's wrong. If you want to party and go crazy and that's where you're at, that is in and of itself a path of learning. It is what it is. I've seen lots of people go down that path. It's a hard lesson to learn. It's not a fun lesson to learn, but it's a lesson nonetheless. And you may come out of that lesson living that hard lifestyle, maybe being able to help people in your future. So there may be a reason why you're going down that path. I'm not here to judge, but if you hit a point where you see that your behavior is leading to hurting others around you, and for me, this is a big one, because when your actions due to any kind of addiction start to hurt those around you, it's a problem. Whether it is your children, your spouse, your family, your job, your responsibilities, your own self-love. If you feel shitty after doing these things, you're hurting yourself because you're not walking in pride. You're not walking in integrity. So those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And once you've established that there is something greater that you want to walk towards, then you've got to really, really pay attention to everything about your actions. So that means staying away from people that do not serve you. If you have people that are in your environment that are going to pressure you or are going to be doing those things that make you or force you to feel like you have to live that kind of lifestyle, then you have to cut them out. It's that simple. You have to move away from people that drag you into a lower vibrational state, and you have to have the courage to know that's the right decision. And sometimes it's hard to hurt people's feelings. Sometimes it's hard to say, you know what, you're not a good influence on me and I just don't like your vibe and it's not serving me. But the minute you walk past that fear and you just do it and you're like, okay, sorry, like I'm walking in my truth and I'm going to become a better person, then again, you're kind of at step 2. Now that's depending on the level of your addiction. It's not that easy for sure, but then you've got to fill your time with stuff, things that fill your soul. So for me, it is art, it's music, it's creating, it's dance, it's anything to do with helping others, connecting with others, but being vulnerable, not just like superficial talk, not just, sarcasm or gossip or anything bullshit like that. It's going to be realness. If I'm going to connect with you, I'm going to connect with you. Otherwise, it's a waste of my time. I don't want to sit around and talk surface level with people. It's just, it doesn't feed me, it doesn't help them. So again, really focusing on what you can do to serve others. When you start to help others or walk towards helping others that maybe be dealing with, or that might be dealing with the same problem that you're dealing with, then you hit this realization that you are powerful, that you have the power to change others' lives through your own actions of integrity. And then from there, you start to have a belief in self. And once you start to have a belief in self, what happens is you start to cultivate self-love. And what does that mean? It means that you truly, authentically like and love yourself. And when you truly, authentically like and love yourself and you don't have doubts about your own character, then it becomes very easy to make good choices because they're good, loving choices because you care about yourself. And you also start to make really good choices in terms of dealing with other people and how you interact with them and how you treat them and care for them. And your relationships just become that much more respectful and full of grace. And again, those are some of the steps that you can take towards ending cycles of things that aren't serving you.